Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Regular viewers will know by now I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're taking a look. It's actually a comparison between two cameras and they're both made by the same manufacturer. They're both Olympus cameras, and what we're looking at today is the Olympus OM-1 Mark II, which I have here. Fantastic piece of kit, and the original Olympus OM-1. And I'm hoping this video might help some of you work out what the differences are. What the differences, I can't say the word. What's different between the two cameras, and whether it's worth investing in a newer model, i.e. the OM-1 Mark II or the original OM-1. So let's do this and see what happens. Now, the original OM-1 came out many years ago, several years ago, and it's still a fantastic camera, you know, and it's a great price point. It's about second hand. Obviously, you can't buy it new. Second hand, they're about 200 quid, maybe less. And if you get a really good sample, a good one, you've got a really good camera. 16 megapixel sensor. It's got more function buttons than you could ever want to need, and it's really compact. It's a really, really nice camera. And I would say if you're on a tight budget and you're looking for a decent camera, I would not hesitate to recommend the original Olympus OM-1. It is, it's got professional features, although it isn't a pro camera. Your tilty-wilty screen that you find on virtually all cameras these days, or a vast majority of them. And you've got your PASM dial, which is lockable. Actually, this one isn't. Yes, it is. Yeah, lockable PASM dial on the top. And then you've got your focus functions, your exposure settings, another function button on the top here, record button for video, SD card slot, and there's more buttons on the back here. I'm not going to go through in detail the differences between these cameras. I'm going to go do an overview between these two cameras. But there's a micro four thirds sensor. So of course it's smaller than your APS-C sensor, and certainly smaller than a full frame sensor. But don't let that put you off, because you still get great images. You will suffer in low light a bit, but the original OM-1 still has 5-axis image stabilization, and it works really, really well. So that's a real high-tech feature in a camera that's several years old and nowadays really, really cheap. Let's whack a lens on it. The other really nice thing about micro four thirds is how compact they are, and the lens size, the lenses. Now, this lens here I've just put on is the Olympus 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro lens. So it's a little bit bigger and heavier than most micro four thirds lenses because it's a constant f2.8 and it's the Pro version. So let's just turn it on, and there we go. So you see you've got your tilty-wilty screen. It's got all the displays you're going to need. You can scroll through the different display settings as you can on virtually all mirrorless cameras these days. So info button, you can just scroll through them. And it has what they call a super control panel, which is really useful actually. So you push this button at the top here. I don't know how easy that is to see actually. Push this button there and the super control panel comes up, and then you can easily select which one you want to adjust and which one you want to set. So very up-to-date features on an older camera. And the only thing you're sacrificing really with an older camera, the autofocus won't be, it's still really good, but it won't be quite as good. It hasn't got things like animal eye detect and what have you. It's got eye detect, but the eye detect won't be as fast as the modern cameras. It will do it, but it'll be a bit more sluggish. I think, for photographs, this camera is excellent, and I think you'd be very happy with the results it produces. I'll go through some of the images in just a moment. I'll also put some sample images up on my Flickr site, and there'll be a link to the sample page, you know, in the description of this video. So 3-inch tilty-wilty screen, which is rather good, pretty standard, you know, on cameras, but beautifully made. This camera is exceptionally well made, and it will last. You know, it really is a great piece of kit. 200 quid, and you can't go wrong. You know, it's got your control dials, rear and fronts, for adjusting shutter speed, apertures and what have you. And it's got this dual lever thing on the back here, which I don't find very useful, to be honest. I do on the OM1 Mark II, and I'll explain why I do on that one, but not on this one, because it doesn't do quite as much as what it will do on the OM1 Mark II. Yeah, so you've got your dual lever switch there. The idea behind it is a double function button, for want of a better description. So on the in the top here, these dials will act as your aperture, shutter speed and what have you. But if you turn it down, push it to lever number 2, these dials will act as something different. Could be you could set it up for white balance, adjusting ISO. That's set up for exposure compensation. Not sure what that one's doing, so I can't remember. Don't seem to be doing anything. So that's the idea of having this lever switch. And it has got back button focusing. You've got your button there for pushing for back button focusing, and a fantastic grip, a really, really nice grip. And it's actually a very compact body. My little finger does fall off the bottom, but if you get the grip, but again, grips, everything the original OM1's cheap. A second-hand grip's about 40 quid, you know, and that just makes it a you know, a tad bigger, well, quite a bit bigger camera, and it gives you an additional battery in addition to the one that's actually in the camera. Just put that on. There you have a really nice handling camera with a really nice grip. So, you know, that is you know, a great combination. So that's the original OM1. For me, the biggest downside with the OM1 is its video features, and they're not very good. I almost said crap, because they just aren't very good. If you're looking at doing video, even if you're doing, you know, semi-professionally or as a hobby, I'm not so sure the original OM1 you would be happy with. It only goes up to 1080. The exposure settings in it are really, really cumbersome. They're not particularly good at adjusting the exposure while you're recording in video. And the bit rate is really, really low. So the actual quality isn't great. So I wouldn't use the original OM1 for video. And that was my main reason, really, for rebuying the OM1 Mark II, which we have here. And the OM1 Mark II, again, a fantastic camera. I'm really enjoying, you know, both these cameras. Now this has got a 20 megapixel sensor, where the original OM1 is 16 megapixel. Almost identical layout on the top. So you've got your PASM dial, lockable, as it is on the original OM1. Both control dials for your aperture, exposure, etc. Function button, I've got mine set for ISO. And you've got your dual lever switch on the back here. Now, this one has a 3-inch tilty-wilty screen. Again, great for video. You can just turn it round if you're actually filming yourself, be it vlogging or whatever it might be. The OM1 has just tilts up as it does on my Z6s. So I use external monitors on my Z6. But with this one, let's put a lens on it. See how tiny these lenses are. That's a 42.5mm, which is basically 85mm. It's friggin' tiny, isn't it? You know, and that really, really, really lovely. Get rid of all the bits. You know, that's a hell of a nice, tiny, tiny little lens. Amazing f1.7, amazing portrait lens. But let's put it on front here. There we have really dinky looking lens on a really nice camera body. But I forgot to mention also, as far as function buttons, it's got 2 function buttons on the front here. Again, the same as what the Z6s have and the Z50 has. So you can set those up for what you like. That's the same as on the OM1. The OM1 also has those 2 same function buttons on the front. Yeah, so these function buttons can be set up for however you want to set them up for. Now, I can't remember what I've got mine set up for because I've only had the camera the last few days. But as I say, tilty-wilty screen or articulating screen, that's what everyone says, not tilty-wilty, articulating screen. So you can do your, not really want to do vlogging with this lens, it's a portrait lens, but you get the gist. So that's your tilty-wilty screen, 3-inch tilty-wilty screen, articulating screen. Now, pretty much the same, the function buttons, it's all very similar to the OM1, but it's got a larger sensor. It's a 20 megapixel or 20.1 megapixel sensor. And for me, the biggest thing is the video on it. Now this shoot, the OM2 will shoot up to 4K, the cinema 4K as well, where the OM1 only does HD, and the video quality is great. You can adjust audio levels, you can adjust your exposure settings in manual, a bit more convoluted on the OM1, your ISO settings. One of the only things that annoys me as far as ISO, be it in video or be it in stills, I'm so used on my Z6s and my Z50. When I set the ISO dial, you can set it to auto with just one flick of a switch. On the OM1, so if we go into ISO, you have to scroll through all of them to get to auto, which is slow, and for me, that's a bit slow and cumbersome. So I just find that a little bit annoying. It's not a deal breaker. It might be a quicker way. I'll have to do a bit more investigating to see if there is a quicker way of setting that up. There we go. It's on auto now. Yeah, a great piece of kit. Now, I was saying to you about the function button on the OM2. One of the things I use it for in video predominantly, where you, let's get into video. Where are we? There we are. So when you're in video, I've got the this lever switch on the back here, in the top position, where these dials will adjust your shutter speed and aperture, because I use manual exposure all the time for video. So that's great. You set the shutter speed to 1/50th and your exposure, but flick the switch down, then lo and behold, I can use one of them for adjusting the audio input levels, a microphone level effectively. So that'll go up and down. And the other one will adjust the headphone output level. So, you know, great. So, you know, basically that's really useful. And the other thing is, you can set the function buttons up to do different things in photos to what we can in video. Now that's quite common now. That was revolutionary, I think, with the when this OM1 Mark II came out. But that's, you know, that's quite common now, and that's a great, for me, for hybrid shooters, that's a phenomenal feature. Trust me, that really is an excellent feature. So yeah, that's the basically the outline of the OM1 Mark II. Takes great images. Again, I'll quickly go through a few of them, but I will put a link to the sample images up on my Flickr page for you to see. I'm not sure. Oh, twin card slot. Another difference between the original OM1. The original OM1's only got 1 card slot. The OM2, 2 card slots. And that is actually, I found out last night, an incredibly useful feature for a number of reasons. I didn't think it would be useful, but I actually, obviously yesterday, I had obviously taken the card out and put in the computer for doing something, went home, wanted to take a few photographs. Luckily, I still had a card in slot 2. Had I not had that card in slot 2, I would have completely forgotten. I'd have got home and then found I had no SD card. If I'd been using the OM1, I'd forgotten I'd taken it out. So yeah, I always leave one card in the camera. So you've always got an SD card for taking photographs or video with. I actually got to find my other SD card. I'm not sure where I put it. Yeah, so that's the OM2. For video, again, getting back to some of its video features, which the OM1 hasn't got. This has got a flat video profile and a log profile, which is great if you're doing professional video. I don't think the log profile is as flat as what you would find on the Z6 and certainly on the Panasonic G90 and the G9. Their V-log profile is excellent. I've done a video on that. It's very flat. It's fantastic for grading. But this ain't bad. This is not bad at all. It has lots of burst rates, many other things that you can find online. But it's a bit heavier. The original OM1 is 497 grams. So this one is 497 grams, which is a little bit lighter, where the OM1-2 is 574 grams. So, and that's knacker heavier, but not that you would notice, because the grip makes it such a pleasant camera to use. It's such a wonderful camera. Obviously it can take a battery grip on the bottom. I haven't got one fitted to it. But yeah, great. Whatever great camera, whatever major differences. Again, in 5-axis image stabilization, and you know, cinema 4K as well as 4K video, which the OM1 doesn't have. But yeah, image quality is lovely. Let's have a look at the OM1-2 first, because that's the most exciting one out of all of them. But you know, that was at 1/250th of a second, 5.6, and that was with a 45 to 150 lens, which is sort of a Panasonic, in inverted commas, cheap lens, you know, but still very, very good. The eye sharpness is excellent. Where's my keyboard? Go full frame. What have I done with the keyboard? I've lost my keyboard. There it is. Very good. These were taken last summer, so not recent images. But nothing to complain about with. I'll only flick through them because obviously I'm going to put these up on my Flickr page. But lovely colours, lovely sharpness. Lovely, 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 lovely jubblies. Plenty of detail there. What lens is that? Oh, that's the f2.8 Pro lens, a 40 to 150 Pro lens. So I mean, I could go on and on. Now, admittedly, that's in good lighting, but the OM1-2 particularly is pretty good in low light. Micro Four Thirds does suffer in low light, but it's pretty damn good. You can, because of a 5-axis image stabilization, you can take the shutter speed down really, really low to get a pin sharp image. Obviously, if the subject is moving, no amount of image stabilization is going to help you because you're going to get motion blur with a subject moving. But, you know, if it's architecture, scenery, whatever, and the subject isn't moving, then, you know, use the slower shutter speeds because you can do it handheld. And I use it a lot for that. You know, great. So let's have a look at the EM1 here. Again, the EM1, nice sharp, there we go, nice sharp images. And that eyeball is lovely and sharp. It's a bit underexposed, but again, you know, there is some nonsense said about, you know, pixel size. 16 megapixels is more than enough for printing 8x10s, even 10x16 prints. You can get large prints, you know, out of a 16 megapixel sensor. So again, that's something not to be concerned about. And you know, 200 quid, around the £200 mark, you know, you can get a great results, and with 5-axis image stabilization with a camera that costs 200 quid, you know. I think that's phenomenal. Again, these samples will be put up, and look at that, look at the crispness there. It's wonderful. These samples will be put up on the website. Colours. I really enjoy the Micro Four Thirds format. I love me Z6s, don't get me wrong. I think they're, you know, love them to bits. But yeah, so there we go. That's the Olympus OM-1 Mark II and the original Olympus OM-1. I can highly recommend both. If you're into stills and you want to save some money, get the OM-1 and put the rest of the money to some lenses. If you're into video, I would kind of forget the OM-1 completely and get the OM-1 II, or the G9, which I will do a comparison at some point between the G9 and the OM-1 II, because they're sort of priced very similarly, and second-hand prices are very similar as well. So although the OM-1 II is a more compact camera than the G9, but yeah, that's the OM-1 II with its, that isn't the OM-1 II, yes it is, getting confused myself. Yeah, that's the OM-1 II with its articulating screen. Yeah, love it. There we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Helps me grow the channel. And hit the like button if you like the content of this video. Thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video and photography. Thanks.